Okay, so I have completed the trading post for August. Um, Before I go into everything I did and everything like that, in reference to last month when I mentioned there were some leaks about the Trader's Tender, um, this month they have added to the store, which I could show you if I hadn't already bought it, to be fair. Um, they added a bundle where you get two corsages and 200 traders tenders for $5 after saying that they wouldn't put the trader tenders on the store, and then they said, well, the leaks were for a bundle, so they kind of backtracked. They kind of didn't. Um, I feel like there's two arguments to be made here. While I agree with most of what I've heard that they shouldn't be on the store at all, I feel like there's a couple important differences to realize. Um, as I said last month, when transmogs started to be sold on the store, a lot of people said that was kind of the beginning of the end. Um, because in large part, the transmogs that are being sold on the store are unique. That is the only way to get them. Whereas with the Corsage, either one, they're just recolors. They're recolors of one you could get from the trading post um, a few months ago. So it's not anything that you couldn't get in game with a little bit of effort. The traders, tenders, 200, most of the things that award you, um, you know, the to get like to earn 200 in game roughly, because you do that through the bonus track and then through the quest you get. So I'm estimating about an hour or so because most of the things that um, will complete your bonus track using that um, as kind of a rough estimate. Their raids, their dungeons, their things that take time. So 200 for $5 is roughly saving about an hour or so's worth of time. Um, so there's nothing you can't get in game. They're just giving you a cheaper way to add to what you're already doing in game, which is not typically something that can be said for other things sold in the store. Certainly the mounts, certainly the transmogs, the guest services, like the race change, the faction change, all the guild services where you can change the guild name and all that. That is all stuff that is strictly on the store. So this is kind of, while it's still not good, it's, if they're going to do it, I prefer they do it this way. Not to say that I want them to do more of this, but if they do it, I prefer they do it this way. It's $5. It's an optional thing. You can get the cosmetics, you can get the currency, all in game doing stuff. It comes down to it's all about time. One way or another, you're going to be spending time. You're either going to be spending time in game to grind something, or you're going to be spending money, which you spent time to earn to buy something off the store. So it's however you get your value out of that. What I would like to see is you can keep everything like it is with the trading post. Keep the bonus track, keep all that. Add a way to earn extra tokens. if there's something you want, if there's more things you want one month than the other. Because now we're getting into, middle of the year, we're getting into trading posts where uh, there's not really things I want necessarily. This month was um, a bit unique in that they brought some things back, which I had kind of suspected they would if you go back to like the first couple trading posts. I kind of wondered that if they wouldn't like mid-year bring some stuff back in case you missed something. There were things I already had. So there's not really a lot that I want necessarily. And going forward next year, when I'm doing some of these again, if they don't change some of the rewards, there'll probably be less that I want. I might still do the bonus track and different things to get the traders tenders. I imagine people are going to be saving those up going forward unless they put a cap on them, unless there is a cap. We don't know that yet because you can't passively earn them in any way to let them accumulate to know. Everybody kind of gets the amount for the month, I've noticed, and that seems to be it. Um, so, yeah. So they, to summarize, they kind of backtrack slash lied. They kind of didn't. They did say in a blue post that I've seen going around that they wouldn't put traders tenders on the auction house. Then what I saw said, well, the leaks were for future bundles. So I was thinking like future expansions or something. Um, so it's kind of a bizarre thing. People are not happy, which is fair. I just feel like, as I said, I feel like if they're going to do it, this is a better way to do it because it kind of merges the idea of the store and the idea of earning something in game kind of together in a more reasonable way. So, that being said, this was a weird month, rather, with how the trading post, the way the first landed, basically. So, um, took a little longer. It seemed like it was a lot more grindy this month. I did the obtain flight stones, did the fishing um, task. Been enjoying going and doing that. 50 is fine. It's not very much. You kind of get to go back and visit old zones, so I kind of like that. The defeat a Dragon Isles World boss, create Shadow Flame Crest. The complete 15 world quest. That one was it seemed like it was more difficult than it was in previous months. Just again with how things landed, the quests didn't change as often as it seems like they have in the past. Um, so normally I can kind of find a few quests throughout the Dragon Isles, and then hop on 2, 3 different characters and do a bunch of quests and get this pretty well knocked out. And it took some time. For one reason or another, there just weren't a lot of quests, and the quests that were there just weren't all that great. So it took a bit of time. I think there were four characters that I ended up, because there were only just like 3, 4 quests here and there that were really worth kind of going and doing that weren't like overly involved. Um, 50 dungeon bosses. That was one of the last ones. Complete 30 quests. So, as I've done in the past, went on to a lower level character, hopped on to a character I've been just leveling, one that's just sitting there, and ran around and did a bunch of quests after I tried to do the world quest. Kind of gave up at one point, kind of got frustrated. Um, because it just seemed like it was taking so long. I spent good portion of a day trying to do like run around and do world quest and things like that, trying to figure out like what I could do and what I could do on another character. And then I was logging on to characters, and some characters for some reason it seemed like weren't showing the same quest, so it was annoying, I would say would be the word. complete 15 dungeons, and then complete 5 Mythic Plus dungeons. So, did that across 3 characters. Yeah, I 2 of them I'm trying to gear a little better, and then my evoker I messed around with playing as augmentation, so I did some lower keys. Um, so yeah, so the bonus reward is a transmog. There you go there. Transmog from more like Battle from Azeroth. I can't remember the zone. Najmir? It's the one where the Underrot is. And it looks like that. I have mixed feelings about that. I have a character. I kind of want to play around with this and see if I can what I can what kind of a transmog I can do, combining it with some other things. So now that I look at it, because I don't particularly care for the head or the shoulders really. So yeah, do that later. So that was my 1200. So the 200, I'm assuming that I bought there because I haven't turned in the
Welcome
quest
to the
yet,
trading
so.
post.
And then the
Come back again.
items, this.
I'll be right here when you need me.
Okay.
Come
So
see my wares.
Oh no, I guess maybe that was total. Okay, so yeah, so there you go. So 1900 with I had some left over from last month because there really wasn't much I wanted last month. And then the 200 from the bundle, which the bundle also, I did not mention, is a limited time. It's just until the end of the month. So, again, while I understand why people were upset about it, it's kind of a different thing from what else is on the store, how the store usually sells things. So, and then as you'll notice, there are things that I already have. The mace, I believe, was from the February, the first trading post. Even has a little icon down there that says you own this. The alabaster mounts I bought when they were on sale because I kind of like these. These were part of the anniversary edition of wow, was it the 15th anniversary? I think so. So, um, bought those when those were on sale. Almost any store mount that I have, um, and I have a few. Um, I usually have bought them when they were on sale, or they came as part of the like pre-expansion, because I think I bought in most of the expansions like before they came out. So there was that. There was this bow, which I'm pretty sure again was part of the first trading post. It kind of threw me when I was looking through here, and I was like, wait a minute, there's things I already have. I was like, I haven't bought anything yet. So it seems like there's more, but it's just really more kind of cosmetic things. So there was the Spectral Cub, which I froze from last month. So the mace. Um, the pet for this month, which is not a bad. I'm not a big Dragonkin person. Some people are. They're really good, if I'm not mistaken, in pet battles. Um, for anyone who still does pet battles. So there's the mount. So the I guess it's supposed to be like an eagle, hawk, kind of thing. I'm not actually sure what the off the top of my head, I can't remember what the Alliance are supposed to have. I think it's supposed to be kind of like an eagle kind of thing. And then of course the again, not even sure what you call these. But the Horde version. So, and then the mount for this month. Now, I actually kind of like this. I have one of these already from Warlords, and I never use it because I can't ever seem to find a character that looks appropriate on it. Now, my Druid doesn't look, or a Night Elf doesn't look all that bad. It's really, depending on how you have your camera, they're really big. They take up a lot of your camera, but I do like this recolor. So, and then you have the ethereal Transmog Appearance. So this is basically the dude that you would visit next to like where the void storage guy was. That would allow you to transmog and everything if you don't have your yak mount with the transmog on it. And then it has a store you can buy some things, whatnot. I'm very tempted to get this just because I've wanted one of these ethereal toys. I don't think this is the same one that was part of the trading card set. I could be mistaken. I didn't think that one was a transmog. I thought that one was something else. I thought it was more of just like a vendor. I could be mistaken. And then there's a couple swords. Just basically some colors. There's kind of some sword and shield combos. Dagger, right? Dagger, yeah. Dagger. And then the other two headpieces that used to be in the store. And then there's the matching shield. You'll notice like all the prices are pretty much uniform now. And then there's the other headpiece. And then there is the kind of greenish sword. Kind of greenish shield. And then, there we go. Now you can kind of see it there. There's two different ones. And then the bow. And then another dagger. And then your typical cloak headpieces, which I will be buying. And then gloves for some reason. Which is a bit strange there. So the headpieces and the cape. Yeah, the gloves are just kind of bizarre to me. And then two shields. One for Horde and one for Alliance. When this said buckler, so way back when, like beta, if not alpha, WoW, bucklers were something that I know rogues could use them, and they were a shield for the offhand. So when I saw buckler, and then it said offhand, I thought, wait a minute, if this is something that you can use and you don't necessarily have to have like a ability to equip like a shield, I'm gonna get this, but no, it's just a shield. It was just the name. So I got excited and then got my hope stash as quickly as they were excited. So I'm actually gonna grab these shields because I do like these. and they're 50. So I feel like that's a perfectly reasonable. I don't have a lot of items that have like the Alliance insignia and the Horde insignia. I do have one shield that has a kind of the Horde insignia on it. And then I have the shield from the movie promotion, which is a little too elaborate and a little too big for a lot of transmogs, at least on my panda. Because I always try to do it with my shaman. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my cloak and cowls. I've made it a point of collecting them up until this point. So, and I'm actually using them. I'm actually finding transmogs to use them with. So, I want that. I tend to mismatch the cloaks and the cowls, so. Okay, and then past that, I have no idea. So I've got the mace. Don't particularly care for the pet. Not really interested in the mount because I don't think I'm really ever going to use it. I'll grab it later. Not that much into. Do I want the toy? I'm really leaning towards getting the toy because this would be. I do use my yak for most things, so I really don't need it for the transmog part. I just really wanted an ethereal. Wasn't really all that hepped up with the sword or the dagger. Crown of Eternal Winter. Don't particularly care for these shields. Normally I would collect shields. Very tempted to get this headpiece because I do kind of like that. Do have a fondness for unique headpieces, as you can tell by my druid's monocle there. Don't get me wrong, the shields and the weapons, like they're very well done. I just don't particularly. I can't see a scenario where I'd ever use them. I have most of the ones from Hellfire Citadel in Warlords, which kind of have like the same kind of color theme kind of thing going on. That's what they remind me of anyway. I know they look completely different. But I think I'd be more inclined to use those. Also have some of the ones from Dragon Soul that have like the moving parts and all of that. And then of course my shaman being an engineer, I have some of the engineering ones. Like there's ones I use, so I guess at this point it has to really stand out in order for me to want it to have as a transmog. And then I've got the anything else, what don't I have? The gloves just look weird to me. Like I've tried to get excited. Like I was excited for the corsage, because there's really no wrist pieces to transmog other than just kind of color. These just strike me. They're the tint's off. I feel like if they'd have done something just a tad bit different with the tint. So So I'm torn between the ethereal and the headpiece. I think I'm going to get the ethereal because I can use this on any character because it's a toy. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this was part of the trading card game. So, as far as I know, there's only one ethereal toy. I'm not entirely sure what was all part of the trading card set. That was before my time. I'm just familiar with things in game. Of course, like the Spectral Tiger, everyone knows that. The Spectral Cub, I believe, was part of the. There were pets. I know there were pets. There was the. It looked like the um, Strider that you can get from the Love is in the Air event, but it wasn't pink. It was a different color. I know there was a mount, one of those, because it's like one of the rarest mounts, because nobody ever wanted it, because it's a very plain looking mount. Um, yeah, very tempted to grab the headpiece. Uh, I do like that. I could get both. I do have enough to get both. Do I want both though? I think I'm going to get both. Why not? Do I want the mount? I really don't want the mount. I like the mount. I just don't think I'm ever going to use the mount. So for a finite resource like this, I just don't. Yeah, I think the ethereal transmog moglifier and the hood of hungering darkness. I think I do have a fondness for hit pieces. So with the bonus rewards this month. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. So I'll grab that. There you go. And I don't particularly care for the crown. Same reason why I didn't get the horns last month, at least this time around. Oh, it has an effect. I didn't realize that. I don't particularly care for that. It's clever. I will give it that, but I don't particularly care for that. I was gonna say I tend to be very specific with like the hair and stuff because when you start out and you're leveling, like you don't have a lot of gear. Now I think you can pretty much transmog like just about anything from almost the beginning, but usually early on you don't have a lot of stuff to transmog. So I tend to be particular about the hair and stuff, and then it just kind of carries on throughout. Um, yeah, that I did not care for. That was interesting effect, but I did not care for that. This I don't mind so much. I could see using this on a few different characters. So yeah, do I or don't I? I may think about this and then come back because I go back and forth. Mm, leave me with four. No, it leave me with 525, which I think was about what I started with. Um, I would hate to get it and then never use it. Uh, but I do kind of like it, so yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna grab it. We shall see. Of the three, I think this is probably the one I like the best. So 525. There we go. Okay. Oh, and you can refund. Nice. That I like. Does it do that on? Oh, yeah, it does. It does that on everything. Nice. Okay. So I can kind of play around and see if this is actually going to work for what I wanted. Okay. Well,
May
there you
the
go, folks.
winds be in your favor.
There was the trading post for August. So, hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.